Hi everyone, it's me, Tim. Today I want to talk about gray morality. This has come up a lot in my games. It's the situation where you feel like you've been presented with a number of options to finish a quest and there's really no right choice. And sometimes there's no wrong choice either. Both of them just lead to different things happening, none of which affect you or a lot of other people. And sometimes, well, it's hard to even describe whether there's a right or wrong choice, because it's hard to define what's right or wrong. Let's look at that perennial Fallout quest, Gizmo versus Killian in Junktown. If you remember that one, the player arrives at Junktown and quickly learns that the sheriff Killian is kind of in a standoff with Gizmo, the overweight owner of the local casino. Gizmo wants to expand. He wants to do a lot of other things. Killian basically believes that he's done a lot of immoral things and wants to take him down. He needs proof. You get involved in that, evidence gathering, picking a side, and doing it. Now, this is a real choice that comes along in the game. The player's forced to choose one side, which side dies, basically. Now, interestingly enough, we tried to present that as no side being right. And I know that sounds strange because people are like, well, of course, Gizmo's evil. He's an amoral crime lord. Why would anyone pick with him? Well, Junktown is doing better because of his casino. It's bringing in caps. It's bringing in people. And so the original slide for that said that if you pick Gizmo, Junktown thrives. It becomes bigger. It does way better under him economically. Yes, he's still a crime lord. Yes, he does questionable things, but most people are better off under him. Killian, on the other hand, he's very fair and impartial, but he follows the letter of the law. And our original side implied that Junktown does not do well under him. It suffers, mainly because justice is never as easy as a rule book, and that's how Killian treats the law. The most minor infraction must be punished horrifically. So that's how we wanted to do it. And the original slides, which you can look up online, were really harsh. We liked them, but we realized when we started playtesting, and it came late, that there were no clues that that's how those were the consequences for the player's actions. And a number of people who were playing the game in QA and on the team were saying it really isn't fair that you get hit with such negative consequences when the game seems to be steering you towards Killian and then punishes you for picking him. So by that time, we couldn't really add the clues we needed because Killian and Gizmo were already recorded and edited and in the game from their voice actors. I'm not even sure we could get them again. And it would have cost money to get them again, which we were out of. So rather than change the VO, we changed the end slides not to be as harsh. Also, we pointed out to everyone playing, you did not have to pick a side. You could walk away. You could leave Junktown and say, this isn't part of my problem, and just be happy or indifferent to whatever happens there, knowing that you had nothing to do with it. They were fighting before you got there. They're going to be fighting after you leave. But you're the player character, and a lot of players are like, I need to intervene, which teaches you sometimes intervention. Sometimes doing the action is the wrong action. What's that War Games quote? Not playing is the correct move. So gray morality comes up again and again in my games because I like it. I think it makes sense. I think it shows up a lot because this is how things go, not just in games, but in life. And this has happened again and again in this channel. And it's interesting. The most comments I seem to get is when I tell a story that's very gray, and I try to be very gray about it, and immediately people take sides in it and start arguing in the comments. I mean, I was in a situation with no correct solution. Do I tell my boss whose bug made the game late and get that person in trouble? Or do I say nothing and take the consequences for me saying no to my superior? This is no different than my team member saying he was asked to add a feature to the game and not tell me. He was faced with a choice. Does he just go ahead and do that? knowing that I will find out about it? Or does he say nothing? And or does he say nothing and I find out about it? Or does he tell me, risking our superior coming down on him? By the way, that feature caused a lockup bug in the game. So guess what? Within 24 hours, everybody knew about that feature because you had to be told to be careful what you did there, because if you went in and backed out, it would lock up the game. So super ironic that it wasn't just me who was like, hey, what's this doing here? So what I love about those stories is some people took my side about not saying no to my superior, but then people took my team members' side for giving in to the superior. And I'm not even saying which one of you guys is right. I'm saying life isn't fair. These situations arise. Me and my team member had nothing to do with those situations. It was a superior who caused them, and we had nothing we could do to make it right. In my case, that's why I chose to just double check his work from now on until we shipped. It wasn't fair to him, but features going into the game that I would ultimately be responsible for wasn't fair to me. So that's just, sometimes you just try to act ethically. You try to do the best thing you can do and move on from that. So I guess my point of this is you can make all the explanations you want for how you act. You know, you can say, I'm sorry, it was an order from a superior. I'm sorry, I needed this job. I'm sorry, I have a family I have to support. You can say all those things, but don't pretend you made the right choice, because maybe both choices are wrong. But what you have to accept is once you made a choice on how to act, you are now part of the problem. It's why I said you could walk away in Junktown and say, this is between Killian and Gizmo. That team member could have said, I can't do what you're saying. You're going to have to ask somebody else. And of course, that may have consequences too. But keep in mind that once you do the thing that you think is unethical, there's going to be consequences. You will be asked to do worse things later. Trust me, once you have a superior who asks you to do things that you think are a little unethical, once you do them, do you really think they're going to stop there? They're going to ask you to do more things and more things. And team members will lose trust in you once they find out you're doing these things, whether it affects them or not. Like I said, when that feature went in and it caused a lockup and I was like, I have no idea what this is. Where did this come from? A Jira bug got written up. I think I wrote it up. Once we found out it came from the superior, I assigned it to him and I said, this is your mess, clean it up. And he had to pass that on to the lead programmer to pass down to a programmer to fix. And now everybody knows why that feature was there. And that caused a trust problem. I did not cause that. My team member did not cause that. The superior caused that. However, we're responsible for the actions we take. I don't know if he regrets not telling me. I don't know if he regrets just not saying something to the superior, but like, I don't want to do that. I regret him not doing that. And I feel completely responsible for checking his work from then on. We were only a few months from the end of the game. Okay, every day when I came in, I checked to see if any check-ins went in from any of the people under him, and I looked at them to make sure they were things that I'd actually asked for and was expecting to go into the game. Just keep in mind that no matter what you choose to do, and even doing nothing is a choice, you're going to be held responsible for the consequences of what you did. So my recommendation here is whether you're playing a game or whether you are in real life, pick the action that you want to do, the one that you're willing to accept the consequences for. Because once you do something because someone else told you, you're partially responsible now. You're now part of the problem, and any consequences that come down, they're yours. And like I said, you may have an explanation. I'm not going to even call it an excuse. You may have an explanation for why you did what you did, but don't pretend that it's an excuse, and don't pretend that you have now not become part of the problem. So, gray morality. I love it in my games, as long as it telegraphs the consequences. I don't like it in life, but it's unavoidable. So, for those of you making games, I hope that you consider putting some gray morality quests in your game. I think it makes games more interesting. Certainly makes people talk about it. So consider that when you're making multiple quest solutions. that sometimes you need to make a quest that doesn't have the right answer. It just has several different wrong answers. Anyway, I hope you like that.